I just wanted to start by saying thank you very much for the invite to speak, and thank you very much for being patient enough to set up a hybrid meeting. We have so much on these days that I tend not to travel and I tend to do everything online. So thank you very much for making that possible. But I'm delighted Kate and Dave are with you today because they're the experts on North Devon seals. You can see why we changed our name from Cornwall Seal Group Research Trust to the Seal Research Trust, can't you? Because it's just such a mouthful, and also it's more inclusive. I've got a bespoke talk for you today because you've heard most of our talks before, and I wanted to give you something new and some updates. So lovely to see you all. I always have to thank the people who give us some money, and these are our current funders. So thank you to all of them. It's lovely because they're public, private and voluntary. So it's a really nice mix. I'm sure you're aware that our philosophy is inspired by that of the Ecozoic, which is an era when we learn to understand that we have to share our seas successfully. We are one species in a planetary ecosystem, and whether we like it or not, we depend on that planetary ecosystem for our very existence. So without other species and biodiversity, the human species doesn't have a future. There are other aspects of the Ecozoic that we also love, but I won't go into too much detail. It's worth looking up if you've never heard it. I like to give you a flavour of how much we do. And in terms of people, we haven't got the 2023 data yet because we're always about 3 months behind in our recording. But for 2022, we did 13 surveys every single day of the year. Lots of boat surveys. We covered 362 different locations, processed 121,000 photos. Kate's amazing at that. For 12,000 plus seal IDs, with a maximum of 150 seals identified in a single survey. 7 of the seals from 2000 were still alive. We sadly had 124 different entangled seals and 1,300 seriously disturbed seals in 223 incidents. So that's a really big issue for seals. But on the plus side, we recognised 181 ex-rescue, rehab and released seals surviving back in the wild. But as I'm sure I've said to you before, it's no good collecting all that data if we don't do anything with it. So we did an incredible, between our volunteer team, we did 631 different things, of which 201 were UK-wide and 38 were globally based. So we've gone from being just a regional organisation and charity to being national and international, which is really important. We had 27,000 people who heard important Sealy messages. We did a talk a week, a workshop a fortnight, wrote loads of reports, and did slightly less face-to-face events because we just don't have the capacity at the moment. We run with 1.5 full-time equivalent rangers, Lauren, Karen in the middle and Sarah to the right. You'll be familiar with Sarah. She's been with us for a long time. And we are delighted to say we are now currently self-funding. So in terms of donations, adoptions, fundraising and our online shop, we managed to pay for our outgoings, which is really important. We don't have to go for stressful grants all the time. And you know that the fundamental core of what we do, our biggest asset, is you. It's volunteers who spend their time out and around about the coast, not necessarily interested in seals, but maybe interested in other creatures, tiny to massive. It doesn't matter. These are the ambassadors and protectors of the coast around us. Right, I wanted to tell you some individual seal stories and some updates. So there are some seals here that you know, that you will have heard me talk about before, but I'm going to give you some updates. What always amazes me about Seal Photo ID is how much you learn. So in December 2023, I ID'd 25 seals at my site that I've known for at least 10 years, and there were 9 of them that I've known for 20 years. So it's incredible to be able to put their stories together. And as you know, every single one of them is a different story, which is what is so fascinating for marine conservation, if making it effective. So this is one of the most beautiful girlies I see. They're not the greatest photos because I take them from the cliff top with a massive zoom lens like you do in North Devon. She's got a gorgeous, gorgeous belly pattern. She's absolutely stunning. This is the photo at the bottom that I took on the survey, and the red bordered photos are the catalogue photos. And hopefully you can match up this white square with this white square. It could even be a bit of a bird with a beak with a very skinny neck, who knows. And anyway, that's there. Oh, it's not. What am I talking about? It's here. Apologies. See, stress of talking gets you all confused. This is the bird with the skinny neck, and this is the bit here, which is this bit here. Anyway, she's beautiful. This is Chairlift. So in December, I saw Chairlift. It's not the best photo. Look, he's hiding his head. But my brain, when I see Chairlift, it just knows it's Chairlift and it tells me. Don't know how it works. Subconscious, human brain subconscious is incredible. This seal has just made our social media because she's called Square Blob's Alien, and she suddenly turned up on the 26th of December. And I thought, blimey, I haven't seen her for a long time. And when I looked up her dates, I suddenly remembered or discovered I hadn't seen her since 2007. She's been absent from my site for 16 years. I would have been forgiven for thinking she was dead. Where the hell has she been for 16 years? So I put her photo on our intranet network for all the other volunteers who run the catalogues around the Southwest. Have you seen this seal? No, they haven't. So where's she been? I guess she might have been in the Isles of Scilly. She could have been in Wales. She could have been in France. But she wasn't the most exciting ID of December. This one was. So I recognised this seal in the photos without the borders straight away. Right side, left side, I knew both of the sides. She was behaving very strangely. She was frolicking. She's a big adult male, and she was frolicking with a big adult, she's a big adult female, and she was frolicking with a big adult male on the shoreline. You usually see sub-adults and juveniles doing that, but not full-on adults. She was having a whale of a time. When I got home and I looked up who she was, couldn't find her. And it's because I kind of ignored the first few in my catalogue because I thought, well, it won't be her. It'll be one of the more recent ones. Looked her up, haven't seen her since 2003. So she's been absent for 20 years. She's only ever been ID'd twice. And because I've got star skate in lots and lots of seals. I've seen her lots and lots of times in my catalogue. I just haven't seen her in the field. She's been absent for 20 years. She had a pup in 2003 and we haven't seen her since. No wonder she was happy to be back and messing about with a bloke on the shallows, because she was just really happy to be there. Right, you know these two seals. I have told you this story before, but I thought you might like an update. I think I last talked to you in 2021. And basically we have a male at the top. We have years across the top in his calendar and months down the side. The numbers represent the number of identifications and the colours the different sites. Now I know it's complicated. We just have to focus on the yellow site here, which is the pupping site. And between 2011 and 2015, he and she, this is Ghost down at the bottom, he and she were at the yellow site. He protecting her from other males, looking after her with her pup. And then when she would finished feeding her pup at 3 weeks, he would mate with her. So, you know, bit of a love tryst going on there. He disappeared in 2016. We've seen him randomly on the south coast and then a few times since. And she, we only ever see her during the pupping season. He disappeared in 2016 and came back to the yellow site, pupping site, remember, in August. Well, she unfortunately didn't come back at all in 2018. And we think that was as a result of Storm Brian in 2017, when loads of mums lost their pups. The hormones got out of cycle. They didn't get to mate. So we had a third drop in pup numbers in 2018, and she didn't come back at all. So she obviously wasn't pregnant, we don't think, in 2018. Didn't have a pup in 2018. However, he was also back in 2021 and at the right time. But I think I told you previously that actually she pupped on the south coast for the first time ever, completely randomly. We think she got caught short on the way up to her usual pupping site. So what's happened since then? Well, we did see him 2022, but maybe he died of sadness not finally meeting his girl in October 2021. Who knows? He might turn up in 20 years. Who knows? But she returned to her pupping site and has had 2 more pups at the usual place. So this was her with her 2022 pup. She always gives me a hard time. She's at the bottom of the photo, look, and her pup is at the top of the photo. So this was taken by a volunteer, Jeff Rogers. We managed to get, you can just see a bit of pattern. So we managed to get a fully molted fur pattern of her pup so we can track it for life. But that was her 19th pup in 20 years. So it's always with anticipation. Will she come back? Did she come back in 2023? Yay! And I'm so delighted to tell you that yes, she did come back in 2023, having her 20th pup in 21 years. This is her pup, look, hiding behind the rock. She doesn't look a day older. She looks fab. She often props herself up on a pillow from her chest, which is a little bit unusual, but she's been doing it for years. So what will happen now? We think she's a world record breaking mum. However, I have heard from Donna Nook that their netted seal might have had 1 more pup than her, but unfortunately they can't produce any evidence of it, whereas we've got all of her 20 pups all recorded in the different years. So she's certainly on record, could be the only proven one probably to be a world record holder for a number of pups. So what's going to happen in 2024 this year? Well, we don't know. Let's hope she survives. But Nicola Peters, one of our volunteers, top right, got a photo of her mating with Snake. So this is pup 21 being made. Fingers crossed she does well enough and thrives and is fit and fat enough to do well. Fingers crossed. Right, I'm sure this video might play jerkily for you, but I wanted to show it. I'm going to play it a couple of times to tell you what's going on in this video. So this is Ghost. Extraordinary behavior. This is why I'm showing it you. She seems to be with 2 pups. The left-hand pup is hers, and you will see that the C is massive. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it again from the beginning. Okay, so she's bringing her pup up the beach. She spots another pup and she knows this pup is in trouble. If it gets washed out, it will be separated from its mother and die. So she is scaring it up the beach. And Simon, who took this video, said that the pup got washed round the back of the rock and washed up the beach and did not get washed out to sea. So effectively, she has now saved the other pup's life. She's now got her arm over her pup and is escorting her pup up the beach out of the sea. But I'm going to play it one more time for you, and I'm going to suggest you watch her head, because she now knows what's happened. She's worried about that other pup and she scares it up the beach, but look, constantly looking between the 2 pups. She doesn't want to save the other pup and risk her pup. She's going to check it's okay. She thinks she's done the best she can. She's now got to look after her pup. She's keeping her body between her pup and the sea. There is so much going on in this video. It's incredible. And that I wanted to show you is why seals are iconic, and their behavior. Thinking seal, it's very complicated. So I wanted to share that with you because it's a pretty special moment. So mums are incredible, but so are beach masters. Here is, this one's called Square Eyes. Not a great name, but I don't know if you can see Square Eyes here and her fur pattern. In fact, I saw her this week, which is quite exciting. She's got a pup with an inexperienced beach master. What's he doing? Wasting energy. He's wasting her energy, he's wasting her pup's energy, and he's wasting, more importantly, probably his own energy. He won't be able to keep this up. He doesn't understand that she's not in season. She's got a 5-day-old pup, and there is no point testing her out and see if she's ready to mate, because she isn't. So he's got to learn to be patient, but it wastes all the seal's energy when they do this. And she's doing the sensible thing, which is protecting her pup from him. Whereas wise old men, I mean, wise old beach masters, know how to behave, and they are respectful of their females. They will keep their distance. He's on the seaward side of her, so he's protecting her and her pup. Check out that fat chonk. That's a ridiculously fat pup, but he's staying by her side because he knows that's a 3-week-old pup and he can't be far off weaning. If it's not far off weaning, she's going to be ready to mate pretty soon, so he can't afford to leave her side now. She is stupidly thin. If you look, you can even see her hip bone above the pup's head. She has transferred a third of her body weight to her pup, creating a fat chonk, and it needs to be that fat to stand any chance of surviving its first winter. So we worry about skinny pups, and this was a really important team effort in September 2023. So this mum, we don't know who it is actually, she's very plain, had a pup on a really public beach where disturbance is rife. You can access it from the land, walking around the beach, and you can see it from the cliff top, and we get a lot of cliff top disturbance. And the data at the bottom shows that we monitored with British Divers Marine Life Rescue, Cornwall Wildlife Trust volunteers, and the local hub. We monitored that pup together over her entire 15-day feeding period. So sometimes they only feed for 15 days, 15 to 21 days, so 2 to 3 weeks. We monitored her every day. You can see we had 35 different volunteers monitoring this pup over the 15 days. We put in 232 volunteer hours and engaged with 837 people, trying to explain what this pup and this mum needed, i.e. sleep, peace and quiet, not disturbance. She did 25 feeds, and the frequency of feeds was really interesting. The length of feeds was really interesting, so useful research information. And the beach master was a pain in the backside. So unfortunately, he was an inexperienced one, and he kept wasting all their energy. So that pup, now 3 weeks old, look, fat chonk, ready to go, perfectly fat enough to survive its first winter, and all down to a fabulous first team effort of monitoring pups over a 15-year period. Now, I know I'm just going to say hello to Malcolm, because I can see that Malcolm's just joined. Going to wave at him. Hello, Malcolm Rogers. Nice to see you. Okay, so I wanted to play you this because, of course, it's not just about seals, is it, for all of us? It's about spectacular wildlife sites, and I just love watching gannets. This was taken last winter, and of course, I'm massively relieved because it means that we've got enough gannets to snow gannets left after avian flu, and you know how badly impacted they were. So it was wonderful to see. Okay, so Legs is the seal that I would have told you about before. She got first entangled in 2019 where the star is, and she's got this ongoing significant welfare issue. We have tracked her ever since, and we really hope one day we'll be able to rescue her. The top photo on the right shows the first time I ever saw her entangled, and stupidly thought, it's loose, it's not much, she's got no growing to do, it won't hurt her. Within 3 weeks, it had cheese wired all the way through her skin, which is really tough, all the way around her neck. This photo was in 2021 with her really bad neck wound that she's now got. She'd had a pup in 2022, which we think might have been the first since she got entangled, which was really lovely. And she's had another pup in 2023. It's a little boy, look, trying to hide from his mum, not very successfully, bless him. But we really hope that this will be the next major legendary rescue, and I will explain another couple coming up. Updating our updating our entanglement data, we've still got between 2 and 4% of all the seals that we see being entangled. We've still got apparently the second highest rate of entanglement for any phosid seal species anywhere in the world. And we've had up to 134 different entangled seals back in 2021, slightly down in 2022. Fingers crossed that continues. But this seal, who again, I'm just going to give you an update, who was rescued in 2016. We tracked all the way through. She taught us some new science because she had this growth spurt after her rescue. She healed really quickly, but she had this growth spurt. We now know that entanglement and inflammation, we think, causes stunting of growth. She had 1 boyfriend, 2 boyfriends, 3 boyfriends, 4 boyfriends, 5 boyfriends before she mated. She faffed about with a 6th boyfriend until presumably her hormone trigger kicked in and she was no longer interested in boys at all. That's all new science. We didn't know how much they faff about with other males until they choose the right one. We didn't see her pup that year, but we did see this incredible protective behavior of a male protecting her underwater. But she did have a pup in 2020, which was super exciting. Another big team effort on the same beach where we did that big volunteer effort to keep them safe. She had this pup in 2021. She had this pup in 2022. So all thanks to giving her a second chance, because British Divers Marine Life Rescue, on our call out, and I cut her free, gave her a second chance. Did she have a pup in 2023? If she did, we didn't see it, so we don't know, but hopefully she's all fine. Okay, so that's a few updates about individual seal stories. Climate change has been a big campaign of ours. This is the update information about the impacts of climate change on phenology shifts, timings of things. So at my site, peak haul out season used to be on the left-hand side, March and April, up to 2024. Sorry, I'm telling fibs, up to 2014. Since then, it has moved earlier, and by 2022, it was December. So between 2016 and 2022, the peak haul out season at my site has shifted several months earlier, and it was the same in 2023. Unfortunately, pupping season has also shifted earlier. So if you see on the right-hand side, it used to be across Cornwall and the Isles of Scilly, it used to be October when most pups were born, followed by November. However, in 2022 and 2023, it was September followed by August. So in 2022, most pups were born in September, and only 1 more pup was born in August compared to October. However, in 2023, most pups were born in September, but we had something like 23 more pups born in August than in October. So this is a big shift, earlier pupping. And of course, August is a rubbish time for seals to have pups because it's the tourist season when we are most active around the coast, potentially disturbing them. So I've looked at a few mums who we have longer term data on and pup birth dates. So this is Scream. It's a beautiful photo by Tash Murch. Scream has had her pup 25 days earlier in 2023 than her 2017 pup. On average, she's pupping 4 days earlier every year. But if I look at 14 different mums, on average, they are pupping 2 days earlier each year. So that's really fascinating information and a useful insight into the impacts of climate change on the timing of seal activity. But it's impacting in other ways. So I don't think I've shown you this, but at North Cornwall, which used to be one of the biggest sites, one of 3 biggest sites across the southwest, we had a rockfall in 2022 in March. So you can see the orange line. That's when the rockfall happened in March. The blue line shows what usually happens in terms of seals on this beach. So you can see we had no seals on the beach from March. because of a big rockfall that's in the background. So presumably the seals that were there at the time, some of them would have been killed, some of them would have been scared, and they didn't come back. So hundreds of seals were displaced. And once the beach is empty, the others will think, well, we're not going there because it's empty. Why is it empty? We're not going to use it this year. So hundreds and hundreds of seals had to use extra energy that year in order to move to the next site. At my site, because we've got really good data on rockfalls there, I'm able to tell you that in 2019 we had 1 rockfall, 2021 rockfall, 2021 4 rockfalls, and in 2022 we had 8. Rockfalls kill seals on beaches if they're hauled out underneath them. We didn't see any here, but they'd be well and truly buried. So this is adding to seal disturbance. When a rockfall happens, they'll stampede into the sea, the ones that are not underneath it, and causes disturbance. So we've already got massive human disturbance, and now we've got some climate change induced disturbance. And then I was sat in this rainstorm surveying. I know I'm mad, but I was sat in this rainstorm surveying. When I went back, half the seals had gone. So when the second rainstorm hit, I thought I'll watch what happens. And half of the seals went into the sea. So in 2 back-to-back heavy rain showers over the space of about 10 minutes, 37 of the 70 seals stampeded into the sea and were disturbed by the heavy rain. And then in November 2022, I was sat in this hailstorm. I couldn't film because it was too heavy. It hurt too much and it was going to kill my camera. However, in 7 minutes, 272 seals were disturbed off the beach in the single hailstorm. So now every time it hammers with rain and we get a hailstorm, I think, oh dear, poor seals. Now, why does this matter? Well, obviously disturbance matters because it's a waste of energy. There are lots of graphs here, but I just want to pull out a few simple things. This is the Cornwall Wildlife Trust Marine Strandings Network data. This is the number of seal deaths each year. 2 peaks, 2019, 2021. Here is the number of serious disturbance incidents. 2 peaks, 2019, 2021. Is that a coincidence, or is disturbance having a mortality impact? When people ask me how many seals are dying, well, we can say from the Seal Wildlife Trust data that the trend is increasing. 2023 was the worst on record, 301 dead seals. So that graph is going to go up hugely in 2023. What's happening to the number of seals? Well, it's complicated. Our census in April suggests that we've got the same number of seals in 2022 as we had in 2008, with a few blips in between. So we decided, because you know that the shift has now gone to that's not peak season anymore, we've started doing quarterly surveys. And even the quarterly surveys suggest that the seal numbers are stable. So if we've got more deaths and stable number of the seals, that's worrying, isn't it? So that's what I keep telling everyone. We might be seeing lots of seal pups, but it doesn't mean everything's okay. All right, then, on to plastic rings. So this was one of the epic rescues of 2023. Basically, Wings, featured here, adult female, was the first active adult female that British Divers Marine Life Rescue managed to rescue. You can see she was caught in a plastic ring. We've known her for a long time. Unfortunately, she's habituated. She gets fed, sadly, in St Ives Harbour. It's changed her behaviour for life, and harbours are dangerous places to visit. Basically, she managed to get this ring round her neck. We don't understand why. Females generally don't play with stuff in the water. How on earth did that happen? Dan Jarvis from British Divers tried to lift it's a long story, I won't go into it, but he effectively tried to pull the ring off her neck and couldn't get it off. It was too tightly embedded. It had been there less than 2 weeks and it was too tightly embedded to remove. The water resistance pushes them further back on their neck, and when they stretch their neck to catch food, it goes further back. Fortunately, she was rescued, but it took all these people in the photo to rescue her. So we say to people, please don't use flying rings anywhere near a waterway. It's going to end up in the sea. However, not all seals are that lucky. So we've been campaigning on this. We've had some successes with the smiley faces of stores that have taken them off the shelves, vet practices that have taken them off the shelves. We've been doing a lot of local retailer store stuff, but we've now just about to release with the Seal Alliance a petition, which we're hoping you'll all sign, to ban flying ring sales. This was the second epic rescue in 2023. End of 2022. 2022. This is not right. It should say 2023. Apologies. No, I'm telling fibs. These photos were taken in 2022. You can see by Andy Rogers in October 2022. You can see how badly entangled in a plastic ring this seal is. However, in January 2023, he was rescued. This is the first active adult male that British divers have ever rescued. They tried a new method using a cargo net. He is here. Here, Dan is trying to throw the net over him with Chris Lowe, who's an experienced seal handler as well. What I found fascinating in terms of the behaviour is this is a seal called Pogo. Pogo appeared to want to protect Commuter from the net. That was fascinating. However, of course, British divers are smarter than that. They got a herd board in the way and managed to separate the two of them. And then Commuter seemed to want to protect Pogo from the herd board. It was fascinating behaviour, but long story short, look, they managed to capture Commuter, get Pogo away, release him, and I'm delighted to say 4 days after his rescue, I sighted him 25 kilometres away. He'd felt well enough to go and swim that distance, and he was hanging around with a load of mates. Okay, to finish off then, I just wanted to tell you that if you like seals and you want to learn more, I run 2 courses. I run Discovering UK Seals, which is a beginner course, Biology, Ecology, UK Seal ID, not Photo ID, and Conservation of UK Seals. And this year, for the first time, I ran Seal Field Skills to Inform Conservation, surveying, recording, using field data to illustrate issues, and Photo ID. They're 2 courses. Those are the 2 courses. We're making a difference together, all of us. We're happy to share resources. You can watch the climate change film if you're interested. I'm going to share this presentation with you, and the links on the left-hand side are clickable. So if you want to go to some of these resources and things, you click the links. We have a climate change leaflet. I'm sure Kate has provided some of those for you. It shows these impacts that we've learnt about. Now, seals are bringing stories about the state of our seas to us on land, but will we listen and will we act? They are getting impacts of climate change even before we are. You'll have seen this leaflet and be very familiar with that one. We can give you more if you want them. And we've just literally ordered a new print run. We've managed to screw up a little bit. We got the first print run wrong, but I'm going to send them all to schools and use them for school education, which is fine. But we've got a new A3 leaflet. So basically, it's called Enjoy, Respect, Protect. It's got information about all things we need to know about disturbance and signs of disturbance. And then it's got best practice advice for all different user groups. So that's available if you wish. They also can be used as posters. We've got paddleboard stickers and boat stickers. These are currently being printed. If you want some, you just need to ask. We worked with a couple of universities to create some different messaging for a younger audience and a bit of comedy. It's not really my thing, but they go down really well with people who do have a better sense of humour than me, obviously. And it's basically saying, are we good neighbours or are we nuisance neighbours? Do we hog beaches when seals come home to pup? And are we all over their beaches and they can't pup on the beaches? Do we feed them? When we approach a mum and a pup, we're delighted with a big smile on our face and they're scared stiff. It's a bit weird staring at seals. Noise is a problem, and of course none of us like having our personal space invaded. I know I've told you this before, but we have a seal photo policy of seals not looking at the camera, because if they're looking at the camera they've probably been disturbed, taken from distance, and we don't show lots of seals on a photo online because people always ask where it is, and we don't ever name specific sites online. We use generic location names. So we do have this best practice photography. We follow up social media. If you didn't know that if people are seen disturbing seals on social media, we try and follow it up, but we post best practice messaging on Fridays and Saturdays on our social media channel. So if you ever want to share them and you look Fridays and Saturdays or the week before a school holiday, you should see lots of best practice messaging. As ever, we've got shed loads of resources that are free for you to access. You'll be able to click them. But I wanted to tell you about this because you're super intelligent, super competent and capable people. This is a free book. If you click the link, you can download it. And it's amazing because this guy wants us all to build an economy. How we need to change our economy to ensure environmental sustainability and a future for our species. It's a brilliant book and it's free. And finally to say, if you ever get any geoengineering projects on your patch, wanting to remove carbon dioxide through ocean alkalinity enhancement, we've had shed loads of experience of this since the 19th of January 2022. This is us talking about this project on the Politics Show. All we've tried to do is ask questions to make sure that the statutory agencies do due diligence and don't go ahead with the project until they know it's going to be pretty safe. And finally, thank you to all our volunteers, including you up in North Devon, who have done a fabulous job and recruited more surveyors to the team. You are our eyes and ears and ambassadors around the coast, and we're nothing without you. So to finish, basically, our biggest threat to our planet is blue blindness, not thinking about the sea, denying there's a problem, apathy, can't be bothered to do anything about it, and myths and misconceptions. That seal just left that rock to come and see me in my kayak to say hello. No, it didn't. It was scared and it came to check you out and make sure you're not a threat. Our biggest mistake will be to prioritise ourselves over nature. Nature sustains us. Without nature, we have no food, drink, or life. The planet doesn't need a plan B, it's a lump of rock. It's us that need the plan B. But the good news is if we make space for nature, nature moves in and nature helps us. Have we missed the point? I hope not, and I'm sure you haven't. It isn't about saving nature, it's about saving ourselves. And that's it. Thank you very much.